Hello, everyone. My name is Angel Santos, business and mindset coach for Christian women, and I'm the host of the Christian 𝗟𝗲𝘁'𝘀 podcast. So today's topic is definitely one I could talk about for hours, and it's one that I know is important really all times of the year because it's always a question. Recently, we just wrapped up our live version of the Skills to Prosper challenge, and one of the questions that the women had was how to be consistent with social media. And I get it, since I've been coaching since 2016, that comes up time and time again. And so the question that I want to talk about today is, why is it so hard for you to be consistent on social media? Why is it so hard to be consistent on social media? And then how do you not make it hard? Like, how do you get consistent so you can build a business and get visible and reach the people God has called you to reach, and all the things, right? All the things, make money, quit your job, etc., right? Retire your husband, for those of you who are working toward that type of thing, right? How do you overcome social media? How do you stop it from being hard? How do you be consistent? Is it systems, right? Is it software? Is it having a VA? What is it, right? That's what we're going to talk about today. And I want to, before we get into answering these questions or answering this question, I want to talk about the power of social media and the lack of it, because that's really important. I tend to, I have a business academy, and sometimes when women go through it, some will say, oh, I don't want to use social media, or I'm not big on being online, but I guess I have to, or I just really don't want to use social media. But they'll say it like that is a bad thing. And someone who all my business is basically the last, 5 years, all of my business is from Facebook. And let me say the majority of my business is from Facebook and YouTube. I want to just alleviate those concerns and let you know that if you don't want to build your business on social media, you do not have to. My sister has had a very successful legal practice for years. She doesn't have a website, right? Same with my aunt. She has a successful interior design and architecture firm for decades. Not online, no social media page, right? She's not on Instagram. She's not on TikTok. She's not trying to learn. You get what I'm saying? She's not trying to learn how to make reels. Social media has only been around for about 40 years. So while it is absolutely a great resource, and we had some technical issues earlier, so let me just make sure I'm recording before I do this full training. And then I don't have, a recording of it. I'm live. Okay. Facebook is so strange. It's saying I'm live, but it's not even showing me that I'm live. I don't understand it at all, but that's okay. Okay. So social media is just about 40 to max 50 years old. Men and women have built and grown successful 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-figure businesses for decades, right? For centuries, right? Without the use of the internet, without the use of social media. So I want to encourage you, if you feel like I'm not really into social media, you do not have to be. Now, with that being said, and I just want to say that to alleviate the pressure for any of you watching. I'm assuming if you're watching, you want to use social media in some way, but if you feel like you don't, or you want to incorporate some offline elements, I just want to remind you that they exist. Social media is not marketing. It's a tactic in marketing. It's one tactic. It's one method. There are many, right? Free and paid. With that being said, I am very grateful for social media because it has allowed me to work from home since 2016, right? The first year of my coaching, I kind of did more in-person advertising, promotion, and marketing. The normal things. I spoke in front of organizations and had one-day events in person, right? And that was 2016 to 2017. 2017 to 2018, I transitioned into online more, and I found that worked better for me. So I'm very grateful because you can absolutely build a 5, 6, 7-figure business from the comfort of your home, from your computer, from your phone. I know people who have built 5-figure businesses and 6-figure businesses using their phone. So the capabilities of what we have in technology right now are endless, right? We do live in a time where we have access to so much. With that being said, you can use what you want to, right? And that's what we're going to talk about today on why it's so hard for you to be consistent on social media. So with that being said, let's just jump into it. So the first thing is your identity, right? Who are you? Before you practice being consistent, right, which I'm going to define as showing up on a regular basis, right, a recurring frequency. Before you practice being consistent on social media, take a look at who you are as a person. Oftentimes when it comes to change, any type of change we want to see in our relationships, in our diet, in our health, whatever it is in our business, in our life, a lot of times we jump to action. Oh, what action do I need to change? What do I need to do differently to be consistent? When the actions that you have are the actions you have for a reason. So we actually need to go deeper. What's causing those actions? Who are you? Right? And in all seriousness, like, who are you? Who are you? What makes you you? What characteristics make you you? What beliefs make you you? What stories that you tell yourself make you you? What would other people say about you? What would you say about you? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your the things that you're the best at? What are your flaws? Because if you are consistent in one area, you're probably being, if you're inconsistent in one area, you're probably being inconsistent in some other areas you shouldn't be as well, right? For instance, if you're not being consistent on social media, something you believe you need to do, right? We already talked about whether you need social media to grow your business. So if you're being inconsistent on social media and you believe that's something you need to do, what are the areas in your life are you being inconsistent on something you need to do? Perhaps you've been told by the doctor you need to drink more water and you're not. You've been told you need to exercise more and you're not, right? You're supposed to be moisturizing your hair and you're not. What other areas are you being inconsistent where you shouldn't be? Is this a part of your character? Is this a part of who you are? Are you someone who is inconsistent in things you should be doing? And if so, why? Like, you have to get to the root of that. Now, you have the power to change, right? But why are you being inconsistent? And for me, because my identity is found in Christ, so who I am is based on what I believe. I believe that I am God's child. Right? I believe he sent his son to die for me, right? I believe I am a member of the kingdom of God. So that affects what I do, right? So if I'm looking at, okay, why are you being inconsistent? I will look at, is this a part of my character? And if so, I need to change who I'm being, because the Bible says, scripture says, everything you do as unto the Lord, right? That's a way we glorify him. Well, me being inconsistent in things I'm supposed to do, how does that glorify God? So it's either like change who you say you are, right? And acknowledge that. Or change who you are at the core to, you know what? I am a consistent person. I practice consistency. I work as unto God. Right? So at an identity level, identify who you are. And if there are areas that you need to change them. And I know that can sound really like, how do I change my identity? Your identity is made up of who you are. You just do. You just change it. You can start by writing down. Maybe you realize you've been someone you don't actually want to be, right? We're always capable of better, right? A good example is the person who we are on just like a random, maybe not all of us, but some of you, especially if you still work in a 9 to 5, you know who you are in like the middle of a month on a Wednesday. You're checking in, you're working, you know, at a regular pace. You're not being lazy, but you're not being like really aggressive, like, let's do this, right? But think about the person who you are, not just what you do, but because it starts with the inside. Think about who you are being the day before you go out on a vacation at work. You are making sure all your T's are how do they say T's are crossed, I's are dotted. You're making sure everything is organized, taken care of where it needs to be. You're probably going to have a super productive day, but that didn't just change based on action. That changed because you knew you're going out of town, so you decided to show up and be the absolute best and most efficient version of yourself. That part of you, that side of you, that doesn't go away when you come back from vacation, but you just don't bring it out, right? So we're always capable of being better, the very best version of ourselves, right? It's a choice. So are you choosing to be the best version of yourself? And what does that look like? And I would highly encourage you to write it down. Like, think about it. A lot of people live their entire lives, right? Being who? A lot of people just live their lives being a default of their circumstances with no intention. That to me is very sad, especially if you are a believer, right? Instead of living your life with intention. So step 1 is identifying who you are. And do you need to change anything about yourself at an identity level? Because the truth is, if you are not someone who is committed, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, to being the best version of yourself at a core level, then I could give you tips all day. And you're not going to do anything about them. You'll be like, oh yeah, that's a good point. That makes sense. And nothing will change because it's more than just actions. It starts with who we are, and then who we are and what we believe prompts the actions that we take, which creates the habits that we have, etc. Right? Okay, so after you're clear on who you need to be, are you clear on your mission? You know, a lot of times, I like to use the example of if you are a mom and your child tells you, oh, Mom, I forgot to tell you, I have a project due tomorrow. If they don't have anything, if they haven't started, you may get on them, right? But you're also probably going to help them create their project. If you have to find a store that's open, a trifold board, whatever your child needs, you're going to make sure they get it and that the project is done in the time it's needed because it's a mission. You have a clear purpose, you have a clear goal, and you believe it's possible, so you're going to get it done, right? Social media is no different. Social media is no different than a kid's project for school, right? The only difference is how we look at it in our heads. The only difference are the stories we tell ourselves about it. The only difference is the attachment we have, right? You care about your child. You want them to get a good grade, but you don't feel like you're probably not going to feel personal rejection if your student, you know, if your child gets a B or a C, or you get what I'm saying? Like, you will not feel rejected. But if you post on social media and, you know, someone comments and it's negative, or someone like laughs, not that that happens, right? But you get what I'm saying? Like, if you post on social media and you don't get the feedback you're looking for, you don't get the views, etc., no one buys, it can feel like rejection. You can internalize that. Instead of identifying it as a lesson, you can internalize it and feel like, oh, I failed. So there's a different level of attachment there. Most of us don't even realize that that is happening, right? But all of that doesn't have to be there, right? It literally is no different from helping your child with a science project that's due the next day that they just remembered, right? The only difference is the stories you tell yourself about it, right? And once again, if you're like, well, how do I stop telling myself, how do I stop the attachment? By doing identity work, by realizing what's really important, what really matters to you. Who are you, right? Whose are you? Where does your confidence lie, right? What does failure mean to you? What does success mean to you? And understanding that failure is not, failure is an event, not a person. That's a quote by Zig Ziglar, meaning failure is something that happens, but it's not who you are, right? I would go further though to say that failure really is feedback, because it's a lesson. It's a lesson. It's a lesson. So remember your mission and look at it as a mission. Why are you getting on social media? Is it to make money? Is it to raise awareness? Is it to help people, encourage people, equip people, educate people? What is it? And when you focus on those people instead of your feelings, your ego, etc., you will find that you can overcome a lot of the silent obstacles, resistance, and thoughts that you don't even realize you're having that are keeping you from sharing, right? That are keeping you from showing up like you deserve to, because there are people waiting to hear from you. Commitment. After you've gotten clear on who you're going to be, right? Who you desire, and thank you for the heart. After you've gotten clear on who you desire to be, right? You've gotten clear. Oh, thank you for the hearts. And sorry if anyone's commenting. Facebook has been strange today. After you've gotten clear on who you're going to be, and you've gotten clear on your mission, what is the purpose, right? The next thing is commitment, right? Again, with the example of your kid's science project, you're not going to, if your child tells you at 8 p.m., oh, mom, I forgot, I have a science project due tomorrow, I haven't started. You're not going to say, oh, well, it's late, dear, so just get some sleep, and tell your, absolutely, hi, Ebony, how are you? Absolutely, the show up matters, right? And that's what commitment is all about. Like, as a mom, in that example, you're going to show up, even though it's 8 p.m., which to me is late. You're going to find a store that's open. Office Depot may be closed. You may have to go to Walmart, right? You come back, you may be tired. You may have to get up at 4 a.m. You may be a nurse or something like that, but you're still going to stay up as long as you need to if your child needs your help, because you're committed, right? Because you care. Your business, your dreams, the desire God has put in your heart, it deserves the same level of commitment. And, I could get, what do you call it? Feedback for this, or I feel like some people would disagree, but I would actually say the calling that God has given you.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, sorry. I had a Zoom pop up. The calling that God has given you, the business that you have created, I would say that should be priority, right? Like, if you have to, now, obviously, I'm not saying ignore your children. That's not what I'm saying. But they had a week to do the project, right? Your business matters. So while on occasion that's okay, your commitment should be stronger to the calling and the vision that God has given you. And a lot of times, especially with women, me, myself included, we prioritize everything and everybody else over the vision that God has given us, right? But if God gave you the vision, there is a reason. So it's about increasing your commitment level. And you may say, okay, so what do I need to increase my commitment level to? No way out, right? Once again, with the kids, science project, you would make sure it gets done. Whatever your child needs, you would make sure it gets done. No way out. It's the same approach with your social media. You make sure it gets done. Maybe you feel like it's not as polished as you want. Maybe you feel like it's not as refined. Maybe you feel like, oh, I don't want to put myself out there. I don't like this. This is uncomfortable. Whatever it is, all those things are valid. And if you are committed, you're going to do it anyway. You're going to make the post anyway. You're going to show up again and again anyway, okay? So now that we got the foundation, right? Because I'm telling you, if you don't solidify that foundation, none of the other things are going to work. I can give you hacks for days, right? I can give you templates. I can give you strategies. I can give you those for days. And with that being said, you could have found all those things on your own. Are you telling me you couldn't have found some type of social media strategy on YouTube or a webinar or somewhere? Like, are you telling me you couldn't think of 5 things you could post on social media? 1 thing you could post, 2 things you could post once a week, right? Of course you can, right? But you haven't been the person who is willing to do that, right? And have you revisited what the mission is all about? And you haven't committed, not fully. You haven't committed to the point where there's no way out, because if you had, you would be consistent. After you've done that, you solidify the foundation. Now we can get into the tactical planning. Do make a plan. Do have a strategy. What kind? There are so many. And I teach it. I have a social media, what is it called? Social Media Mastered program. So if you want to go deeper, just let me know about that and I can send you a link, right? So I teach you a strategy that I recommend, which is balancing education, encouragement, engagement, inspiration, and promotion, right? It's just a system that I teach, right? The thing is, there are a lot of different systems, right? There are a lot of different systems. The key is to have a plan. Have a plan, right? I can literally create a plan right now. On Mondays, you nurture people, which means you just tell them about your story, because people like to do business with people they know. So tell them something about your story, right? On Wednesdays, you promote. Just share about your product, right? And then on Fridays, you educate, right? Just share something that's beneficial. You could do that every week. You see how quick that can be? Like, have some type of plan. It can be extravagant, right? You can do, Tuesday mornings, we share our podcast, a promo for our podcast. On Tuesday afternoons, we share a quote from one of our free webinars and give them a call to action to sign up for that webinar that's paid now. On Tuesday evenings, we go like it can be as extravagant or simple as you want it to be, right? So I'm not going to get into that because that can be a whole other live, but have a plan. Have a plan. And if you need help creating a plan, you can book a session with me and we can create your plan together. Or you can get my Social Media Mastered program where I teach you how to create a plan yourself. And I created that because my private clients who we would create a plan together, after they talked to me and we created it, then they would be like, okay, why did you say I do this? And I wanted them to have a resource so they could be empowered, when they were not on the phone with me. Or not on Zoom, I should say. Okay, and the last one is let it be easy and fun. And this is why I don't want to give you a plan, because I don't know who you are. I don't know what you like. I don't know what platform you want to use. And the plan that I create without knowing anything about you or your business, it might feel hard. It might not feel fun. And you don't need anything else like causing resistance. Does that make sense? Like, don't do it. You are not putting in all the work, money, time, and effort to build a business that you don't enjoy being in. Why? Who does that? No, not you. Not you. Don't have to, right? Let the way you create content, like, have a plan, yes, but make sure that plan it's easy. Don't make it hard on yourself. And there are ways to make it easy, right? Let it be easy. Let it be fun, right? Because if you do, that will help reduce the resistance, right? That's human. Like when you don't want to do something, there is resistance there. So if you do the identity work and say like, and you do the identity work, you commit to being a person who is consistent. You show up no matter what, twice a week, every day, whatever you decide on, right? And so you commit to this, you have a plan, and it's like, okay, let me just put this out because that's what I'm supposed to do. No, because a lot of times when you create with that type of attitude or, energy, it comes across, not all the time, not all the time. If you know what you're doing, you're a good marketer, copywriter, you can make it work. But a lot of times, if you're not just a good experienced marketer, copywriter, and you just don't have to be miserable doing it, right? Remember, this is a mission. You have a clear purpose for why you're bringing this content into the world, who you're trying to reach. So allow that to fuel your plan, influence your plan, and under the guidelines of letting it be customizable to you, okay? So with that being said, thank you all for watching, everyone live. Thank you for watching the replay, the recording, whether you're watching this on YouTube, whether you're listening to this podcast on Apple or Spotify. I appreciate you. If you need help with getting clear on what your social media plan should be, like who you're targeting, what you should say, when you should say it, etc., how to take them from being a stranger to buying. If you need help with that, you have two options. You can book a call with me, and we can create it together, or you can do it on your own with my social media mastered workshop that is pre-recorded, has templates, everything that you need. And I also want to make sure I tell you that is forever, but I want to make sure for those of you who are seeing this in the month of December 2022, you are invited to start 2023 with a vacation and make your first 5 figures. I am hosting a retreat called Manifesting Miracles in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and I want to invite you. This is who qualifies to attend, by the way. If you are a Christian woman entrepreneur and you have not made your first 5 or 6 figures and you desire to, right, then this is for you. During this retreat, you are going to not only create your plan for your first 5 and 6 figures, but I'm also going to help you during the retreat, like create the materials you need, right? So you'll have a photo shoot, so you have some nice professional photos for your marketing. We'll create the copy you need for the first 3 months of the year. So you'll have like your social media and marketing done. If you need a sales page for your program, we can create that. If you'd like to be an Amazon bestseller or an author, we're going to create that. If you don't want to be, you don't have to. You can use the content that we're going to create to do like podcasts or just videos. I highly encourage you though to become a bestseller because the way I do it is very, very easy. So this is a little bit of information about the program here, and what I want to share is just the itinerary. So it starts on January the 26th. We're going to have a kickoff dinner. Then that Friday, we're going to start with a 6-figure year planning session. You can come if you haven't made your first 5 figures, no worries. We can help you do that. If you want to make your first 6, we can help you plan that out. After that, we're going to do a session on confidence to make sure you feel really empowered to carry out this plan. And then our third session is going to be about launching, like how it's going to be about mapping out and then actually creating in real time the marketing pieces you need to attract your clients for the first 90 days of the year to set you up really nicely. And like I said, we're also going to go through my Amazon bestseller, which teaches you how to create basically all the marketing you need for the year in one day. Right? So you're going to leave Puerto Rico with gorgeous photos, with graphics, with marketing done, new friendships, feeling very supported and confident about your 2023. Day 3 is going to end with building a celebrity brand, right? So I'm very grateful to have been on podcasts, TV shows, magazines, etc. And I'm going to show you how to do it so you can too, to really boost your visibility and help you create the brand that you desire and the reach that God has for you to reach. And then we're going to end it with the photo session. And if you see like the graphics that are on this page, my designer is actually going to be on standby creating graphics for you. So once you have the photography session, she'll be able to plug it in with graphics she creates. So like, again, to just really cut out the work that you need to do to step into the 5-figure and 6-figure CEO that you can be, right? So comment Puerto Rico if you would like an invitation to this event. Only 5 spaces. As you can see, we're going to get a lot of work done over 3 days. So I can only host 5 because of what we're going to be getting done, right? This is not like I sit down and just teach, or I stand up and teach. This is very hands-on. So if you'd like to review this information, get all excited and talk yourself into it, if that's how you operate, let me know. And I am happy to send you the link. And then the other thing that I wanted to say is that I also have a 5-day challenge. If you feel like, okay, well, I can't say I'm basically, if you don't feel ready to go to Puerto Rico, or, create your first 5 or 6 figures, if you're not there yet, but you are like, I really would like to get better with the whole social media and just really understanding marketing and what I need to do to even start my business, then comment skills. I have a 5-day challenge that is like an overview of the 6 skills that you need to make your first 5 figures, right? It's a nice overview. So comment Puerto Rico or PR if you like to start your year off with a vacation and map out your 6-figure year. And then comment skills if you'd like to learn kind of an overview of the skills that you need to do the work that I and so many of my clients get to do, which is work from home, work from anywhere, and get really well paid for it. Alrighty, thanks everyone. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments.